Rob, one of the bright spots, if you will, at least initially, when WCW went out of business and ECW, around the same time frame, was that invasion angle in the WWF, and you were a centerpiece of that, of course. And I think nobody on the planet thinks that they played that out correctly. Do you have any idea or what your input was on that angle to try to make it such a money making angle? And when did you realize that it was going to go south? Was it when Stephanie became the owner of ECW, or before that?
Well, I was really happy to be representing ECW because they were adding depth to my career, all of my efforts up to that point, instead of erasing it and trying to replace it with some silly idea. That meant I was getting credit for everything I'd already done and even been there before. So I was happy with that. It was obvious to me that we were brought in as heels, and I guess maybe that was kind of, and this is after watching the Vince documentary, I look at it now like maybe ECW coming in and WCW as the invasion. That was maybe kind of an answer to the Outsiders / NWO, which, okay, I get it, but we're heels. Like if NWO was over as heels and outsiders, because it was like a anti-establishment era and situation with that, and we were over too with our fans, the ECW fans. But I don't know. I always felt like we were brought in as heels, and they would have us jump to the baby faces, and then. And then, especially when we eventually did ECW later, because then we'd have our own show in front of the same crowd that we were just heels in front of, because we were on SmackDown ECW. But that was obviously much later. You know what? One of the first complaints I heard, which is probably valid, is that, well, they didn't necessarily pick the top stars from WCW, to represent. Which a lot of those guys I didn't know, and I met them then in 2001. But it's like a bunch of those guys, and I guess some of them are from Ohio Valley, but then somehow they were in the invasion angle. I don't know, maybe WCW hired them first or after, I don't know. But like Jindrak and Stasiak, and there was, even Sean O'Hare was one of those guys back then, and there was a bunch of guys like that, and then not necessarily Sting, Vader, Ric Flair. I mean, that would have been the top guys at WCW, I think, coming over and saying, "Hey, this is our show." But that was part of it. I don't think they ever understood ECW. When I say they, I mean everyone but Paul Heyman. And so he was a one-man army trying to fight to knock out stupid ideas and to go forward with good ideas, like on the daily. That was part of the problem.